cannabis clinics of
2 weeks later, training
medical marijuana made easy. See if you pre-qualify for your Florida medical marijuana card free of charge, 100% risk, obligation, and judgment-free with Fast Track Cannabis Clinics of America. You're talking Tampa Bay's #1 choice for compassionate care with business professionals. Discreetly begin your road to relief by dialing 813-358-CARD or visit www.mycannabiscard.com. That's 813-358-2273. And make sure to tell them that Al Keck sent you for $30 off new patient enrollment. Ask about military and senior discounts. Fast Track Cannabis Clinics of America. Launch or scale your brand or business with Guerrilla Marketing Inc. and digitally dominate the competition. Right now, get a small business starter package. You're talking a custom logo, toll-free vanity number, equipped with a digital directory, 5-page website, and matching media page for $1,299. That's a $3,000 value. Visit GuerrillaMarketingInc.com or call 813-358-2273 to get started. With uncertainty at an all-time high, securing what matters most has never been more important for your home or your office. Prevent disaster and make life easier. Try a security and home automation system from Alarm Engineers, Inc., Tampa's trusted leader for more than 30 years. State-of-the-art security systems, award-winning monitoring, and now full-spectrum smart home solutions. Alarm Engineers, Inc. has everything your home and office could possibly need and will work with any budget. Book a free security or smart home consultation today. Call 813-948-4000. That's 813-948-4000 and get your first month free by telling them Al Keck sent you. Alarm Engineers, Inc. Sports media has evolved. Introducing NSPN Next Gen Sports, your #1 choice for total coverage of all team and combat sports. Up-to-the-minute breaking news, live shows with special guests, and unprecedented interactive sports content. Go like and follow NSPN Next Gen Sports on Facebook for your chance to win an authentic, autographed Shaq Barrett Bucks jersey. That's valued at more than $1,000. Do it today. The winner will be picked live on May 18th on our NSPN Next Gen Sports Facebook page. Next Gen Sports. You grew up in Tampa. You were drafted by Kansas.
Yeah, it's actually.
Aaron, we're closing in on training camps. How are you handling mid-July these days? Do you still get that feeling that football is right around the corner?
Yeah, it's actually funny. I had a charity golf tournament today in Athens, Georgia, and I would say probably about 25 of the quote-unquote celebrities there at the tournament were current Georgia football players. And for me, I was a part of this tournament when I was at University of Georgia. So, you know, I would go there, and then it was kind of like 2 weeks later, training camp was going to start. So it was kind of the beginning of, okay, let's get your mind right. You just had this charity golf tournament, and the season kicks off in a couple of weeks. And then obviously, you know, NFL training camp as well. This is, you know, about a week out from when quarterbacks and rookies report to camp here, probably, you know, sometime between the 19th and 25th. So this is the nitty-gritty time of, hey, you better get your butt in shape. You better be in shape actually by now, because I don't know if a week's going to cut it, especially for some of these guys. But yeah, I still get the little juice flowing here or there. But right now, I'm just enjoying being a father. I got a little 1-year-old and playing as much golf as I can before the season starts. And I got to be up in the booth calling games.
Oh, good deal. You, of course, are doing games for the CBS Sports, doing college football games. We'll get to that here in just a second. But you did play pro football as a 30-year-old quarterback. With that, how impressed are you with what Tom Brady was doing as a 43-year-old quarterback?
It's amazing. And you see all the guys, there's not all because there's not a lot, but in the different leagues, whether it's Major League Baseball, whether it's NBA, NFL is a little bit different because of how physical it is to see someone with that kind of career to be in the NFL that long, to have, injuries and to get pounded on. And the reason is he takes care of himself. I mean, his whole TB12 method, it works. I know there's a bunch of guys in the NFL, and I have buddies who actually have done it and have read the book and are trying to take care of their bodies and eat the right things, sleep correctly, the right hydration, the stretching. It makes a big difference. Look at a guy like Drew Brees, same way. Drew, I knew Drew a little bit, but I had a bunch of buddies who played on New Orleans. Like, he would show up to dinners. He would show up to, if they had like a movie night, with a bag. He would pre-pack snacks because he knew what, his calories, the type of food that worked best for him. And it's the same thing with Tom, man, that they take care of their body so well and maximize everything when it comes to that, to make sure they can go out there and perform on the field for as long as they can. And it's just, to me, it's not only the fact that he's playing at the age of 43 or 44, whatever it is, it's the fact how well he's playing. Because when you watch him last year, his arm strength, to me, is still top 15 arm strength in the NFL. The way he played was still a top 15 quarterback. So, everyone's like, oh, when's Tom going to retire? When's Tom going to retire? He's not as good as he was 5, 6, 7 years ago. Maybe not, but he's still better than most of the guys in the NFL. So if he's still better than most of the guys in the NFL, to me, why does he need to leave? Because physically, if he's there, mentally, he's still a top 5 mentally quarterback, if not the best mental guy in the NFL right now. So I don't see him slowing anytime soon, man. He looks like he has, knock on wood, barring any kind of injury, 2 or 3 years left in him.
You grew up in Tampa. You were drafted by Kansas City. Who did you cheer for in Super Bowl 55?
Oh, man. It was tough. I will say my family all cheered for the Bucks, but I did cheer for Kansas City. It was a win-win for me anyway. I still say, hey, my team won the Super Bowl when people ask me. I'm not a bandwagon fan. I mean, I grew up going to Bucks games. It was funny. The truck I drove my first 2 years in the NFL when I was in Kansas City, the license plate was a Florida license plate. And, that middle logo was a Tampa Bay Buccaneers logo. So, after my, midway through the first year, I think it was Coach Reed's like, who's driving the truck with the Tampa Bay license plate? I'm like, I thought it'd be fine because it's NFC. We don't play them. So I think this was actually illegal, but I got a Kansas City sticker and put it over the Tampa Bay logo. So I was like, please, I hope I don't get pulled over and get in trouble for this. So, I do bleed for the Bucks and love the Bucks, but there's just something, the fact, the 2 years I spent in Kansas City, they drafted me, it's a different kind of feeling, but was, like I said, I was happy, at the end of the day, I felt it was a win-win, whoever won the game, but I was cheering just a little bit harder for the Chiefs.
What was it like playing for Andy Reid?
He's hilarious. And so my family, my dad's side of the family is from upstate New York, from Syracuse. So I was a big Orange fan growing up, and Donovan McNabb was my favorite quarterback. He was the legendary guy there for Syracuse, went on to play for Philadelphia. So I would watch a lot of Eagles games. Actually, my first signed football was from Donovan McNabb. My brother and him had the same agent. So I watched a lot of the games, and if you watch, you see Andy Reid. He's like this big, scary guy. Doesn't show a lot of emotion. Seems really rigid. So when I got drafted, I was like, man, this is sweet. I grew up watching Andy Reid and the Eagles and Donovan McNabb, and obviously you've heard about how great he is as a quarterback guy. But I was a little scared, honestly, of him. And he could be far from that. He is the ultimate player coach. He's hilarious. He cracks jokes 24/7. Just a really laid back, fun coach, a guy you love to hang with, really fun in the meetings. I mean, every day we'd have meetings in the morning, walk through, lunch, practice. Then we'd have meetings after practice, and he would sit in with the quarterbacks while he watched the film. And every day, as soon as we were done the film, he would go on, just story time. And it could be like a 5-minute story. It could be like a 30-minute story. And it was just so awesome to hear the tales of Andy Reid and just get a kind of a glimpse of what it was like in the 80s and 90s and early 2000s, and the players he worked with and the coaches and how the schemes have changed, and just all around awesome guy, and was just so happy when he got his first Super Bowl a couple of years ago. Long overdue. At
Georgia, you threw for more touchdown passes in the SEC than Peyton Manning, Eli Manning, Matt Stafford, anyone, Joe Namath, anyone that's ever played in the SEC. What's that mean to you?
It's awesome. Records will be meant to be broken, and I'm sure, especially in these offenses nowadays, someone's gonna come in and break it. But I was fortunate to play in a great offense with a great offensive mind and Coach Bobo, really good receivers, and I got to play for 4 years. I think that's the biggest thing is, a lot of these guys come in, they play 1, 2, maybe 3 years, and then they're on the way to the NFL. I stuck it out for all 4, so I had a better opportunity to really break some records, especially with the offense that I was in. So it's cool. It's cool to see, my name up there with some of those greats, both at the college level and guys that went on to have tremendous NFL careers. And living in Atlanta now, it definitely helps, still hold some of those UGA records and SEC records because, obviously Tampa loves football and the state of Florida loves football. But, Georgia, the Carolinas, especially South Carolina, Louisiana, Alabama, Mississippi, they live and breathe football, especially college football. Like, it is unbelievable the difference of, growing up in Tampa, you got other professional sports, you watch USF, obviously the Gators aren't too far, but, college football in those, 5, 6 states is just, it's crazy. It really is. It's so much fun. The fans are so enthusiastic about it. I always tell people, in the state of Georgia, it goes Georgia football number 1. I would go the Braves probably number 2, maybe United 3, and then kind of the Hawks and Falcons after that are right next to each other. Like, Georgia football in this state is huge. And obviously in Alabama, no professional sports. Alabama and Auburn are huge. Louisiana, LSU and the Tigers are gigantic. And then in Mississippi, Ole Miss and Mississippi State, especially with Mississippi State winning their first College World Series the other day. So it's just the love for college football is awesome to see.
The best defenses in college football are in the SEC. When you got to the NFL, what was the difference between an NFL defense and a very good SEC defense?
How complex they were. You got to think, because there's a lot of talented guys that are leaving the SEC to go to the NFL. So speed was obviously a little bit bigger, a little bit faster. The guys were a little bit bigger, but the guys, like I said, the guys that I was playing on Saturday, most of those guys I saw on Sunday. So that wasn't as big of a difference. The biggest was just, how much they could do when it came to, fronts and blitzes and coverages and being able to disguise because you have more time. You're really limited in college football because of the 20-hour rule. You got classes, you got workouts and meetings and then practice. And, that workouts and meetings and practice, like I said, can only be 20 hours during the week. And then you also have to, focus on being able to study and prepare for exams and tests and go to class. Where NFL, that's your job. You're there at, whatever position you are, it's 6 to 8 o'clock in the morning, sometime between there, and you don't leave till 5 to 7, 8 o'clock at night. Like that's it. So the coaches have more ability to put more stuff in, to have the players study more film, so they're able to really get in there and disguise more. Where college football, where it's got a little bit more complex, you saw your basic blitzes, you saw your basic coverages, so it's a little bit easier to scheme against it. So that to me was the biggest jump, was that part of the game from college football to the NFL.
More than 50 scholarship offers coming out of Plant High School. Other than Georgia, did you come close to looking at any place else? If you did, where was it, and who gave you the best recruiting trip?
Best recruiting trip was to UCLA. Rick Neuheisel was the head coach at the time, who is now my colleague at CBS. And my dad and I was going out there for a quarterback camp. And if we went a couple days early to go check out UCLA. We're like, hey, we're out here, might as well go check out the campus. So Neuheisel picked us up. We went to the Rose Bowl, which is the granddaddy of all. It's just gorgeous. Took us on the field. We're the only ones there. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is incredible. We go to the campus, the most beautiful campus right in Beverly Hills. I'm like, I'm sold. I'm drinking the Kool-Aid. If you know Rick Neuheisel, man, can sell a car to anyone. Incredible salesman. So I'm ready to go. I'm ready to commit. We're on the way back to Tampa afterwards. And I'm like, Dad, as soon as we land, I'm calling Neuheisel and I'm going to commit to UCLA. And he told me, listen, if you commit to UCLA, we're going to make, your mom and I and your sister and brother will maybe make half your games. Like, it's too tough to travel across country every single week for football games. So I was like, well, thanks for raining on my parade, Dad. I guess that's not happening anymore. So it came down to, really, I knew at that point I wanted to go SEC, and I wanted to be close to home. So it was Georgia and Florida. And at the time, Dan Mullen was getting ready to take a head coaching position. And, I love, obviously the head coach is big, Coach Rick, Coach Mullen, or excuse me, Coach Urban Meyer is big, but it's your, I knew I was going to work more with the quarterback coach and the offensive coordinator. Those are the guys you're with day to day. And the fact that Mullen was leaving and I knew Bobo was going to be there for a while was really, to me, one of the bigger, deciding factors, along with, I walked into the QB room at Florida during my junior year, and it was Tebow, it was John Brantley, and it was Cam Newton. And I was like, man, that's a pretty packed quarterback room. And I went up to Georgia, and it was Matthew Stafford, who was going to be going to the NFL, and Joe Cox, who was going to be a fifth-year senior. I was like, man, they needed quarterback help where Florida really didn't. Plus, Florida was going to be losing their offensive coordinator. So I think between packed house and losing Dan Mullen really, made the decision for me a little bit easier of going to Georgia.
You talked a little bit about college football in the South, in the SEC, and at Georgia. What is it like? You're now a junior or senior at Georgia, and you are the man on campus because you have been a 4-year starter at quarterback. What is it like? You are the ultimate big man on campus. What was that like at Georgia? What was that like to simply walk to class and have everyone look and point?
Well, I will say I wish I was living in the name, image, and likeness era, because that would have been pretty sweet for my checkbook or my wallet, because these kids are making stupid money right now.
What do you think you could have made then?
Oh, I could have made, it would have been a good amount of money. Jake Fromm, who was a former quarterback at Georgia, played a bunch of years at Georgia. He would have crushed it. I was with JT Daniels twice these past couple of weeks, and he was telling me about all the deals that he had. I'm like, or has coming his way. I was like, oh my goodness, man, good for you. I'm jealous, but good for you. So yes, it would have been really nice. Drinks would have been on me for a long time at the University of Georgia whenever I took the big boys out, and dinner. But it was great. Like I said, the fan bases and the student body in the South, they love college football. Athens is Sanford Stadium's right in the middle of campus. I mean, you have to walk by it every single day. I don't care if you like football or don't like football. If you're on campus, it's hard not to walk by the stadium, and it's just absolutely gorgeous. The bridge overlooking the stadium is absolutely incredible. The whole campus is spectacular for those who haven't been. Definitely should make a trip there, especially on a Saturday when they're playing. But it was one of the best, some of the best 4 years of my life, to be with some of the friends that I'll have the rest of my life. The student body is great. The teachers are great. Campus is gorgeous. Downtown's awesome. The coaches, the facility. I mean, I could not have scripted a better 4 years than the 4 years I had at University of Georgia.
You are doing commentary for CBS, college football. You're doing SEC games. Is this Georgia's year to win a national championship?
I hope so, but you can never feel confident until Nick Saban retires. But you look at the schedule, you look at, obviously Clemson week 1 is going to be a challenge, but to me that really doesn't matter as long as that's a close game. Obviously, if Georgia wins, that's huge, but if they lose, I don't think it hurts their season. The rest of the SEC East is pretty down right now. I'm interested to see what Emory looks like at Florida. If he's a Heisman type guy, that makes that game in Jacksonville a little bit more interesting. But based on the rosters right now, as I look at them, Georgia's the better team. Georgia's probably the best team in the East by a good margin right now. And then the two teams they play from the SEC West are Arkansas and Auburn. Auburn obviously has a whole new coaching staff. They lost all their receivers. They do have an experienced quarterback in Bo Nix, but they got some pieces they got to figure out. Plus, like I said, that coaching staff, Arkansas, love Sam Pittman, tremendous job last year, but doesn't have the same talent that Georgia has. So schedule is perfect for them to get to Atlanta. Then it's, what can you do in Atlanta? You got to beat most likely Alabama, maybe A&M or maybe LSU. But if you win that game, they definitely have a chance. If you win the SEC this year, you have a chance. I like Oklahoma's going to be a good team. To me, they're my favorites. Obviously, Clemson's going to be a good team, but we'll get to see what they look like against them week 1. But if they beat Clemson and they win the SEC championship game, they're the best team in the country. But, you got to stay healthy. You can't get injured. But they are a top 4 or 5 team. Now they got to go out there and prove it, and they got to win the big one versus Alabama.
Aaron Murray, I could talk to you for hours. This is always fun for me. Thank you so much, and enjoy this college football season.
I will. It's going to be a normal season, so I'm excited for it.
Aaron, you're on.